"You'll never be the father of my kids," she said, so I walked away. Then she tried to force me to pay for a child that wasn't mine. But the DNA test exposed everything. Hey, viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. The house was too quiet. That was my first thought when I walked in, gym bag slung over my shoulder, still sweating from the late-night session I'd started taking just to avoid being home. The TV wasn't on. No music playing. Just silence, the kind that makes the back of your neck prickle. Then I heard her laugh. Not the soft, warm sound I used to love. This was different, sharp, mocking, the kind of laugh she reserved for gossip about other women. "Relax, Ben." Isabella's voice floated down the hallway, muffled but clear enough. "Even if he finds out, what's he gonna do? He's too soft to leave." I froze. Benjamin, her coworker. The one whose name had slipped into too many conversations lately. The one she'd sworn was just a friend. My fingers tightened around the strap of my bag. I should have walked away. Should have turned around and left before I heard the rest. But my feet carried me forward, silent on the hardwood, until I stood just outside the cracked bedroom door. "Besides," she continued, voice dripping with something between amusement and cruelty, "he's infertile. He'll never be the father of my kids." The words hit like a sucker punch. I'd never told her I was infertile. Never even suspected it. We talked about kids, sure, someday, maybe, but she'd always brushed it off. "We have time," she'd say. "Let's focus on us first." Now I knew why. A beat of silence. Then Benjamin's voice, low and smug through the phone speaker. "So when are you telling him?" Isabella laughed again. "Why bother? He's not going anywhere. Guys like Alex don't have options." That's when I pushed the door open. She was sprawled across the bed, phone pressed to her ear, wearing one of my old t-shirts. Her eyes flew wide when she saw me. For a second, she looked guilty. Then her expression hardened into something defensive. "Alex," she said, too casually, sitting up. "You're home early." I didn't answer. Just stared at her, my pulse roaring in my ears. Benjamin's voice crackled through the line. "Hello? Bella." She quickly muted the call. "How much of that did you hear?" she asked, chin lifted like she was daring me to be angry. I exhaled slowly. "Enough." A flicker of irritation crossed her face. "Oh, come on. Don't act like you didn't know." "Know what exactly?" My voice was eerily calm. "That you're cheating? Or that you've been lying to me about wanting a family?" She rolled her eyes. "Please. You really thought you could give me kids?" "Benjamin's everything you're not. Ambitious, confident, healthy." I didn't let her finish. Turning on my heel, I walked to the closet and yanked out my duffel bag. "What are you doing?" she demanded, scrambling off the bed. "Leaving." I tossed in a pair of shoes, a handful of shirts. "Oh, now you grow a spine." She let out a harsh laugh. "You'll be back. You always come crawling back." I zipped the bag shut and looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months. The woman I'd loved. The woman I'd built a life with. Now she was just a stranger. "No," I said quietly. "I won't." And then I walked out. The law office smelled like leather and expensive coffee. I sat across from my attorney, Mark, watching as he slid the divorce papers toward me. His pen tapped against the mahogany desk, once, twice, before he spoke. "You're sure about this? No alimony, no shared assets, nothing." I nodded. "Just the car in my name and my personal accounts. She can keep the rest." Mark's eyebrows lifted. "That's unusually generous for a cheating spouse." "It's not generosity." I scrawled my signature across the bottom of the page. "It's disposal." The door opened. Isabella walked in, Benjamin trailing behind her like a smug shadow. She dressed for the occasion, tight black dress, red lips, the diamond earrings I'd bought her last anniversary glinting under the fluorescent lights. Well, she purred, sliding into the chair opposite me. "Look who finally grew a backbone." Benjamin smirked, draping an arm over her shoulder. "Took you long enough, man." Mark cleared his throat. "Ms. Isabella, if you'd like to review the terms." "Oh, I don't need to." She plucked the pen from his hand. "Alex is giving me everything. Why would I argue?" Her nails, freshly manicured, blood red, clicked against the paper as she flipped to the signature page. "You're really just walking away?" She paused, pen hovering. "No fight? No begging?" I met her eyes. "You're not worth the breath." Benjamin snorted. "Damn, dude. Cold." Isabella's lips twisted, but she signed with a flourish. "Your loss." Mark gathered the papers. One last thing, Mr. Alexander has waived all future claims, including potential paternity liabilities. Isabella froze. What? Standard clause, Mark said smoothly. Given your situation. He nodded toward her stomach. I hadn't noticed until then the slight curve beneath her fitted dress. Benjamin's grin widened. Yeah, about that, we're expecting, Isabella cut in, chin high. Something Alex could never give me. Mark's expression didn't change. Congratulations. Just know that if you ever attempt to pursue child support, we'll subpoena Mr. Benjamin's financial records first. The color drained from Isabella's face. You wouldn't. Try me, I said, standing. Benjamin shifted uncomfortably. Babe, relax, Isabella snapped, recovering quickly. Like I'd ever come crawling to him. I buttoned my suit jacket. Good. Then we're done here. As I turned to leave, Isabella called after me. You'll regret this, Alex. When I'm married to a real man and you're still alone, the door clicked shut behind me, cutting off her voice. Outside, the sun was blinding. I took a deep breath, the first one that hadn't tasted like her perfume in years. My phone buzzed. A text from Mark. She has no idea what's coming. I smiled. The wedding chapel smelled like roses and hypocrisy. I adjusted my tie as I walked through the garden reception, champagne flute in hand. Sarah and Michael's wedding mutual friends, which meant Isabella would be here. I'd considered skipping, but some small, stubborn part of me wanted her to see I wasn't broken. Then I heard the laughter. Oh my God, Bella, you're glowing. A cluster of women surrounded her near the dessert table. Isabella stood with one hand resting on her now obvious bump, the other holding a mocktail. She wore a flowing emerald dress that accentuated her pregnancy, her smile sharp enough to cut glass. 7 months, she announced, loud enough for half the guests to hear. A little boy. Benjamin is already obsessed. Her eyes found mine across the lawn. A challenge. I took a sip of champagne. Alex. Sarah rushed over, her wedding veil fluttering. You came. I wasn't sure. Wouldn't miss it. I kissed her cheek. You look beautiful. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Isabella detach from her group and saunter toward us. Sarah. Gorgeous ceremony. She air-kissed the bride, then turned to me with a saccharine smile. Alexander. You're here. Astute observation. Her smile tightened. I wasn't sure you'd show your face after you cheated and left. I finished. Why wouldn't I? A few nearby guests went quiet. Isabella's hand fluttered to her stomach. Well, some people have too much pride too. Congratulations, by the way. I nodded at her bump. Hope Benjamin's ready for 18 years of payments. Her nostrils flared. Oh, he wants this baby. Unlike you, he's a real man. Sarah made a strangled noise. I should check on the cake. As she fled, Isabella stepped closer. You look pathetic, you know. Showing up alone while you what? I cut her off. Parade your mistake in front of everyone? Her eyes flashed. You're jealous. I'm amused. I took another sip. Does he know? Know what? That you're only keeping it because you think it'll trap him. She sucked in a breath. Fuck you. Too late. I smirked. You already did that with Benjamin. A hand clapped my shoulder. There you are. Benjamin shoved between us, reeking of whiskey. His tie was already loose, his cheeks flushed. Alex, man, heard you got destroyed in the divorce. Benjamin. Isabella hissed. What? He slung an arm around her. Dude gave you everything. I'd have fought harder. I raised my glass. Then it's a good thing she's your problem now. Benjamin's grin faltered. Yeah, well, we're happy. Right, babe? Isabella forced a smile. Ecstatic. Good. I finished my drink. You'll need to be. As I walked away, I heard Benjamin mutter, why is he acting like he wants something? And Isabella's sharp reply, because he's delusional. But the tremor in her voice told a different story. The courthouse steps were slick with rain as I adjusted my tie one last time. Mark handed me a folder without looking up from his phone. She actually went through with it, he muttered. Unbelievable. Inside, the family court hummed with low conversations and the squeak of dress shoes on polished floors. Isabella sat at the plaintiff's table, her now toddler son squirming in her lap. Benjamin was conspicuously absent. She looked up as I entered, eyes bloodshot, makeup slightly smudged. The emerald confidence from the wedding had faded into something desperate. Alex, she said, voice cracking. We don't have to do this. You could just, good morning, Your Honor, I said loudly, walking past her. The judge, a weary-looking woman in her 50s, sighed as she reviewed the file. Ms. Isabella, You're petitioning to establish paternity and child support from Mr. Alexander. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Isabella stood, bouncing the fussy child on her hip. He's the father of my son. He's just refusing to take responsibility. The judge peered at me over her glasses. Mr. Alexander? Mark stood smoothly. Your Honor, my client voluntarily submitted to DNA testing 6 weeks ago. The results speak for themselves. He slid a sealed envelope toward the bailiff. The room seemed to hold its breath as the judge opened it. Isabella's heel tapped arrhythmically against the floor. According to this, the judge's voice cut through the tension like a scalpel. Mr. Alexander is excluded as the biological father with 99.99% certainty. A gasp rippled through the courtroom. Reporters in the back row started typing furiously. Isabella went white. That's impossible. The test must be order. The judge banged her gavel as Isabella's voice rose to a shriek. Ms. Isabella, do you have any evidence to contest these results? He must have tampered with it. She whirled toward me, the child now wailing. You did this. You always cheat. Mark didn't even blink. Your Honor, we'd be happy to retest under court supervision. Though I should note. He produced a second envelope. We took the liberty of comparing the child's DNA to Ms. Isabella's alleged partner at the time of conception. One Benjamin Carter. Isabella made a sound like a deflating balloon. The judge opened the second report. Her eyebrows climbed toward her hairline. It appears Mr. Carter is also excluded as the father. Dead silence. Then, what? Isabella's scream echoed off the marble walls. The bailiff had to restrain her from lunging at the evidence. That's a lie. Benjamin he has to be the judge's side. Ms. Isabella, were you intimate with other partners during the probable conception window? And no, just Benjamin and her gaze flicked to me for half a second too long. The judge closed the file with finality. I suggest you reflect carefully on your social calendar. Case dismissed. As the gavel fell, Isabella's phone buzzed loudly from her purse. The bailiff handed it to her automatically. A text notification lit up the screen, visible to the entire front row. Benjamin saw the news. Not my kid. Get lost. The sound Isabella made wasn't human. Mark leaned close as we stood to leave. Want to stick around for the fireworks? I glanced back at Isabella, now sobbing hysterically, the toddler screaming as she fumbled with her phone, mascara streaking down her face. No, I said, straightening my cuffs. I've seen enough. The organic grocery store's speakers played some acoustic folk nonsense as I reached for the prenatal vitamins. Next to me, my wife Rachel squeezed my arm. Ginger tea too? She asked, rubbing her own rounded stomach. The doctor said it might help with a cart rammed into ours. Oh my God. Alex. The voice was familiar, but rougher now, like someone had taken sandpaper to it. Isabella stood frozen in the cereal aisle, her once perfect hair pulled into a messy ponytail, dark circles under her eyes. The toddler from court sat listlessly in her cart, chewing on an unopened candy bar. Rachel looked between us. Friend of yours? Ex-wife? I said calmly. Isabella's gaze dropped to Rachel's belly. Something ugly twisted across her face. You're pregnant. 6 months, Rachel said brightly, either oblivious to or ignoring the tension. Due right after Christmas. Isabella made a noise like a tea kettle about to boil. So you could have kids. You just couldn't give me one. Rachel's smile faded. I squeezed her hand. Turns out the issue wasn't me, I said. Just the company I kept. Isabella's knuckles whitened on the cart handle. You think this is funny? Do you have any idea what I've been through? That bastard Benjamin left. I lost my job. I had to move back in with my mother. Sounds rough, I said, steering our cart around her. She grabbed my arm. Alex, please. I'm drowning here. You owe you. I pried her fingers off one by one. I gave you everything. The house. The savings. And you still came after me for more. Tears welled in her bloodshot eyes. I was scared. That DNA test ruined my life. Rachel made a small, disapproving noise. You sued him for a child that wasn't his? Isabella's face crumpled. You don't understand. He abandoned us. I looked pointedly at the toddler, now smearing chocolate on Isabella's discount store blouse. Seems like someone else did that first. The truth hit her like a slap. For a second, I saw it. The moment she realized she was the common denominator in all her disasters. Then the anger came. You self-righteous asshole, she spat. You're happy about this, aren't you? Happy to see me suffer? Rachel stiffened beside me, but I just smiled. Actually, I said, tucking the vitamins into our cart. I don't think about you at all. Isabella opened her mouth, then closed it. The fight drained out of her all at once, leaving something hollow behind. As we walked away, Rachel whispered, "Was that too harsh?" Behind us, a cereal box hit the floor with a crash, followed by the toddler's wail and Isabella's exhausted, "God damn it, Ethan." I laced my fingers with Rachel's. No. Outside, the sun was shining. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.